Alright, gamers, gal gamers, and macOS gamers. Gotta address y'all separately because that is an expensive cult. There's no need for me to sugarcoat why it is while we've all hopped off our respective joysticks and swamp-ass gamer chairs and gathered here today on this fine afternoon. I'm wearing all black. The weather is gloomy as shit, and you know, that's because we've recently got word of some really crazy news. Skull and Bones is about to die. Let's fucking go. But on a serious note, if you're a diehard Nintendo fan that, you know, might know your way around a computer or maybe a portable PC system, these last 24 hours was probably a slight inconvenience to say the least. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, one of the biggest and arguably best Nintendo Switch PC emulator, Yuzu, got into another sticky court battle with Big Bad Nintendo themselves. Notice I said another one like a DJ Khaled impersonation. Nintendo is one of those gaming companies that damn near always makes amazing games, you know, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to their IPs, intellectual properties, no matter how old and obscure they may be, they treat their property like it's literal life or death. Their lawsuit history has more names on it than the Epstein list. They've gone to extreme measures to make sure that people aren't using their content in a way that puts Nintendo in any kind of bad light. And you know, it even got to the point where they even DMCA strike down all content creators, you know, like myself, for even making content on YouTube regarding Nintendo before 2015, like on some serious mafia mentality. But all of those horror stories are gifts that you're gonna wrap on your own time. Nintendo's latest lawsuit has to do with the emulation software Yuzu and their ongoing generational hatred for the insentient being known as piracy. Last week, Nintendo officially sued Yuzu for being known as the hub to play illegally downloaded ROMs since the program's inception in 2014. Bringing up points like how, you know, the latest Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, was pirated over 1 million times a week before its release. And since Nintendo obviously was having trouble, you know, stopping the wildfire of actual game ROMs being spread on the internet, it seems that they've doubled down on their intent to get the emulators themselves off of the market so that we just have no way of even playing these, you know, illegally shared ROMs. And fast forward a week later, it led to the news yesterday that Yuzu and all of its associated programs like Citra, which play 3DS emulated games, are being shut down effective immediately. Now, this is the point in the video where I gotta look y'all dead in the face and, you know, make sure every subtitle is saying exactly what I'm saying right now, because that's the fact that Nintendo, I do not endorse any kind of piracy. Please let me rock. I see how y'all did Gary Bowser. That man is gonna get the mafia extortion treatment on his income for the rest of his life. But let's dive deep into everything that's going on right now. So obviously, people all over the internet are sharing how upset they are over Yuzu and Citra shutting down since, you know, like I've talked about many moons ago, we live in an age where people are using technology to preserve games as we start to leave the age of physical titles. An age where digital games can get taken down from storefronts in the blink of an eye, and you know, you can get forced to no longer be able to play these games even if you paid money for them. And the reason that Citra was loved so much was the fact that it allowed people to play 3DS titles that were eShop exclusives, which, you know, if you remember, the eShop is getting closed down at the end of this very month. So it's not like we have, you know, all these options to play the majority of these games anymore that Nintendo has shown so far that they obviously don't give two farts about. Unless they have plans to re-release them in the future, likely for an inflated price tag, because that's what they do. But as the Nintendo Switch goes with Yuzu, I mean, listen, I'm not the type to, you know, white knight for the big corporations, especially Nintendo, when it's not like they didn't profit millions off of Tears of the Kingdom, but of course choose to hyper-focus on the few sales that they might have lost. But unfortunately, laws are laws, and copyright is a serious issue that any owner of a protected property has the right to fight against. Only if you get caught. It's getting stuffy in here. Fortunately though, we still do have other programs out there that can handle Switch emulation, like, you know, 𝘊𝘌𝘌𝘞𝘈. But even still, how long those programs have long to last is up for debate since Yuzu just got taken off the map just so easily. It makes it apparent that this is a really scary time for any kind of emulation on PC. Now, of course, my main criticism with Nintendo's whole plan right now was the fact that they went after the emulators themselves instead of waging more on the people who distribute these pirated games. And they obviously have taken down many of those people, but the fact that people who just want to create a place for gamers to play older games that Nintendo can't even profit off of anymore will never sit right with me and always come off as, corporation greedy. But of course, the Nintendo Switch is an unfortunate exception to that rule, since even dumping your own Switch ROMs is apparently illegal, so there's almost no case right now where emulating the Switch games can legally work. So man, it really does suck to see the window of emulation slowly get smaller and smaller until Nintendo, finds a way to phase it all out of existence, but of course, we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for Nintendo in all of their currently emulated games. So what do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch and all of these, what's going on right now, man? Feel free to comment down below, stop liking the video, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one. I gotta make it apparent that, Nintendo, I do not want any smoke, man. I do not endorse any kind of piracy whatsoever.